Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Big Sports News, Axe Rotation, however the flipping yummy is in the webs, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into week 2 of stage 4 of the CDL, that being our last set of qualifiers going into Major 4, Champs, and EWC. So after we finish the set of qualifiers, it's all tournaments. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And yeah, don't forget to head over to codstats.com where I will be going to do my G-Stakes picks and everything to coincide with my pick'ems. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to use code FSNChris for sign up. As you can see here, my referral code's right there. If you miss it, it's in the description as well. So you can just copy and paste. Bob's your uncle, and you will get 500 free G6 creds, I believe, to start. And you can try to compete with your boy. And you can see on the leaderboards, I'm currently top 3 in the G-Stake wagering ladder, right? So I'm currently on, am I on a win streak? I was on a 10. No, I was on a 10 series win streak at one point, but I guess my streak has ended. I'm on a 3 series win streak, so I'll try to build it up again. I was trying to go for the record, but yeah, I digress. So let's get into our pick'ems. I'm going to do G stakes for just the CDL, but as you guys can see, it also is here for challengers and other amateur leagues. Shout out to Turnt and everybody else on staff who is in charge of partnerships and all that. So yeah, doing a lot over here. So yeah, the first matchup of the weekend, we will see OpTic Texas, the guys who famously made the grand finals at the last tournament, taking on G2 Minnesota. And I think it'll be a 3-1 for OpTic Texas. You know, no spicy picks coming here, guys. So, you know, put those pitchforks away in the comments. You guys aren't getting me this week, all right? Gonna put my 1650 on OpTic Texas. Oh, no, I already messed this up. 16,050. All right, let's place that on OpTic Texas. We have the Paris Gentlemates, the new look mates, taking on FaZe Vegas. I'm not really going to make any bold picks here. I'm going to go with the team that's been a team for a while. I just am not so sure with what we saw last week when the Gentlemates took on valid competition, that being OpTic Texas, of course. Oops, not a 3-2. We're going to say 3-1 for FaZe. FaZe has been looking very strong in this game, even though they didn't look to be at their best against the LA Thieves consistently. You know, Simp had to attend a funeral last week, so I think with just such a pressing personal matter, it's pretty fair that he had the most uncharacteristic weekend that we've seen from him in quite a long time. He's looked to be the best player in this game without any replacement, right? All year long, he's been the top guy. So, yeah, I mean, I think FaZe get this done. I think it'll be a more typical week for Simp, right? I don't think we're going to see another uncharacteristic weekend from him. And yeah, that's why I think FaZe get it done 3-1 here. In the last match of the weekend, we will see the Major 3, Minor 1 and 2 sweepers, the LA Thieves, guys coming off of a three-peat, winning the last 2 Minor and the last Major tournament. So, yeah, I feel like LA Thieves take this one pretty convincingly. I'm going to say it's a 3-0. I think it's a 3-0 just because Boston Breach, while they have looked pretty good, LA Thieves just look to be the most complete team in the world at the current moment. So, yeah, barring something insane and maybe some great practice from the Breach this week that leads to great matches. I mean, from what I saw from the Gentlemates, what Sib was saying about Scrap on Twitter, I don't think practice has been going swimmingly well for the mates. I think it's been going, you know? Speaking of things that have been going, Toronto Koi has been going in a much more positive direction than I expected them to with the addition of Abe and the removal of JoeDeceives, who went to the Paris Gentlemates, right? So, no JoeDeceives, as I like to call him, and plus Abe. I think that the Toronto Koi get it done against the Boston Breach. It's just with Kips and Kleenex versus Spart and Co. on that Boston Breach squad. Of course, you have TJ, Afro, and Purge. Right, of course, Purge is still there. He stayed there the whole time. I don't know why that was slipping me. I thought they made a change, but it was just Snoop. Anyways, I think the Toronto Koi will have a pretty tight one with the Boston Breach just because with the removal of JoeDeceives, I don't feel like it's as much of a gimme as it used to be in the past. Abe is a phenomenal player, which is why I think that they definitely take this series. He looks like he's improved a lot with the reps he got in Challengers, which no one really watches this channel consistently. I am not being self-deprecating and saying that. I just don't have those kind of numbers. But I did say earlier in the year that I thought that Abe was going to go to challengers after he got dropped from Surge and most likely get back to the league pretty quickly. I mean, he looked pretty good in the little bit that we saw of him, but playing with Legend, a guy who had never played COD before, just came over from Halo. I mean, it was a very chalk situation for that young guy. So going to challengers and getting a second opinion from the community after that reinsertion into the amateur scene and then getting better PR on his name, I like Abe. So long-winded explanation, but I think 3-1 Koi. Not a long-winded explanation for this one. OpTic Texas taking on the Carolina Royal Ravens, who, it has to be said, have looked much improved. I'm not expecting them to get a surprise upset here. Gonna say 3-0 for the Green Wall just because Carolina have looked pretty good in the S&Ds, but OpTic, I feel like they're just going to be on another level of focus, and they're just such a clear step above teams like the Ravens. I just don't see them winning this. FaZe versus their boogeymen, Miami Heretics with Real. Last year, this was their kryptonite, but this year, I just am not really liking that Metals and Real combo in this game. I feel like Real is a more patient and thinking player, which is great in modes like S&D and of course Overload. But for this team comp, I feel like with Rancor being somewhat of a Iron Boots kind of AR, he's a little bit fast, but then you have Super who's completely Iron Booted. I mean, you have Metals who pushes pace, but Trakes was really the fastest player on the team, and he was the one who really pushed and set the pace, and Metals matched it, right? So now that you have Real who really hampers their pace, and Metals who's pushing pace, I just feel like you're always going to have kind of this ghosting, right? Not to use a PC term, but I feel like you're always going to have kind of this ghosting with the Miami Heretics in the way that their matchup plays out now with Real, right? The pacing I feel like is just going to be slightly amiss because of the removal of Trakes and the pace that he set consequently, right? Like Miami had such a breakneck pace. That's what was allowing them to really take it to these top tier teams. But what we saw of them with Real so far has shown that that top tier pacing that they had that matched really the best teams like FaZe, who are a little bit more slow and methodical, where you saw them pushing teams like OpTic, who can really vary their pace, it's kind of gone. So now they're an easy read, right? You know how Real is going to play, you know how Super and Rancor are going to play, and you can just counter it quite easily. You see Metals getting put in the blender in these series with Real, Real is as well. Just very awkward timing and very awkward execution of their system with these players now. So, long-winded, but that's why I think FaZe finally beat them. Let's look at the head-to-head because it hasn't been good for FaZe. The last 4 times they've played, they've lost, no matter what the roster was, with aBeZy and Cell, without aBeZy and Cell. You see, 3 of their losses came this season with 0-4 and aBeZy, and 2 of them were 3-0s. So I think without Trakes, it'll be a difference, and I think FaZe finally win it here. Now, I think LA Thieves make a difference here. Kremp finally got one to go through the hoop last time they played after getting relentlessly bullied. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple times ago because the last time they played before this was on LAN, right? So they played at the minor last weekend, and then they also played at the major. They played online before the major in quals, and then they also played on LAN as well. So, excuse me. I think it's going to be LA Thieves dub. I think it's going to be a pretty decisive dub. I think it'll probably be okay. Let's forecast this a little bit. With Envoy and Kremp, I feel like this team has a much deeper kind of, I guess, impact on these series with these better teams. So this has the potential to go 5. I feel like G2 in all likelihood should take more than one map just because it's game 5 heart attack G2. That's just their identity as a franchise. But then when you look at how dominant the LA Thieves were against OpTic and how good they looked against a team like FaZe, who I think is better than G2, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to go with the 3-1. 3-2 I think is just a little bit too ambitious. And I'm not trying to get cooked in the comments again. So let's just go with how I've always predicted things, right? Speaking of how I've always predicted things, this was the series that absolutely got me cooked in the comments last week. So we're not doing that dumb shit again. We're going to say 3-1 Koi just because I want some cushion. C9, they do love to randomly upset. They do love to really, really cook in the S&Ds. So I will give them the S&D. Maybe the overloads. Sometimes they get very dangerously close in the overloads and they cook. But a lot of times their hard points are within 6 points and they just troll. 10 points, 12 points. They've definitely had most of the closest hard points that we've seen this year. So yeah, maybe I'll do another compilation video of all the closest hard points going into Major 4, but we'll see. You know, I'm one guy, I get tired, I have a full-time job, like it's hard. So, yeah, speaking of things that are hard, it's going to be hard for the Vancouver Surge to supplant the Paris Gentlemates and give them a fat L, but I think they push it far. I think they push it to Game 5. Mamba has been playing amazing, and Nero has been complimenting him when he has found his consistency. Nero's consistency hasn't been all the way there with Craze and Mamba just yet, but they played with no practice and they took FaZe to a Game 5. So I do like this Vancouver Surge team. They also beat Miami with Real and they looked really good. They 3-0'd them. So yeah, I think Vancouver Surge take it deep against a Paris Gentlemates team that seemingly is struggling in practice, but who knows, right? They got banned from scrims. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period. They could lose this. Who knows? They're banned from scrims, so we'll see. But the sense I got is that they've been playing LA Thieves and the other teams that are banned from scrims. So Carolina and is OpTic banned from scrims? I think they might be. I think it's OpTic, Carolina, and Mates that are banned from scrims. I believe that's the case. Might be Falcons. It might be Falcons. That would make sense, but I'm pretty sure it's OpTic, LA Thieves, Mates, and Ravens. So yeah, so, last match of the weekend. Speaking of Ravens, a team who seems to be banned from scrims, I think it'll be a 3-1 for AG and Co. over the Carolina side. They've beaten them the last 3 times that they've played this season, so I think that persists. They beat them to start the season. They beat them around, I guess this would be Major 2 time, and then of course they beat them in Minor. I'm sorry, is that Major 3? When did they play? Did they play last week? No. They must have played in Minor 4, or Minor 2, excuse me. Oh, they played in the opening round of Minor 2 and it was Game 5. So yeah, we'll say it 3-1 this time. I mean, they just faced off last week, so they have some very, 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 very fresh VOD to watch, and they know how they're playing as recently as last week. Obviously, they had minimal practice coming into the Minor tournament because they had just picked up Standy and all of that, but yeah, hmm. Yeah, 3-1. I'm just gonna lock that in. I just don't see a world where it goes 5 again. I was kind of like meandering whether or not I let it go 5, but I think the Riyadh Falcons, I think they're going to be very decisive in their vetoes, and they're going to make just a smart read in saying, hey, these guys are dangerous. Sandy's a great player. All 4 of them have shown a lot of upset potential with this roster, so let's not let that potential turn to, you know, upsets, right? So yeah, that was about wrap it up for me. Gonna lock it in as per usual. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that to get the engagement up on the channel, to share it with more people if you think I deserve that. And yeah, hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say on this channel, no matter where you may be on this beautiful planet. And I will catch you guys on the next video, which will be a well, I guess I'll just be going over classes and giving you guys some ranked play classes. I'll probably just go into ranked and like actually record what I run, as well as some of the pros classes. Is for my buddy Jack, who left a comment. So shout out to Jack if you're watching this far. And yeah, I got you covered, buddy. So that video will be out tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great one, especially you who leave comments. Really appreciate you guys. And yeah, catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris Fakes versus Extras. Ever the flip, you know these interwebs, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.